Money is an intangible idea represented by tangible things such as coins, paper bills, and certificates, paper or digital. If you think you don't have enough money and that is why you want more, congratulations. Here's some good news. You get to let that idea go. The idea that the reason you want more money is that you don't have enough. It's time. Time to kiss it goodbye. That little thought has served you well in the past, and you no longer need it moving forward. You already have enough money, and you want more. Before you go, okay, yeah, cool, got it, what next? Wait just a minute. Slow down. Do you actually, genuinely, truly know that what you have is enough? Or are you just parroting the words so that in order to get the money? How do you know that what you have is enough? People usually answer, well, because I'm able to pay all of my bills. And that's a pretty good answer. Here's an even better one. You know that what you have is enough because you are alive and conscious, because you are alive and have freedom of thought. Maybe you go, well, what's the point of being alive and conscious if I can't pay my bills? And I would say, what's the point of paying your bills if you are dead, literally or figuratively? You are not here, you were not born in order to pay your bills. That is not why you chose to come into existence. That's right. You chose to come into existence. You chose this life. Story time. Here we go. Once upon a time, long, long ago, you did not have a physical body. You did not have the body you now have. You were not human. You were a particle, or maybe you were a wave. Nobody really paid any attention to you because they couldn't see you. They couldn't hear, smell, taste, or touch you either, so nobody can say for sure what you were. You traveled great distances at the speed of light, maybe even faster. In your travels, you saw much. Eventually, you came across planet Earth and saw more activity on this scrap of rock than you did during all of your previous travels across the vast stretches of the universe. You were fascinated by humans and their shenanigans in particular. You thought, hey, that looks like fun. And you decided, I am going to be human. No ifs, ands, or buts. I am going to be human, for that is my deepest desire. And in the instant of that decision, you attached yourself to matter. Splat. You stuck yourself willingly to physical matter. You bound yourself. You accepted bondage, in a manner of speaking. You embodied a living cell which divided and multiplied and became a fetus and then a baby and eventually a mature human being. And you were delighted. You loved your hands, your arms, your legs and feet, your gorgeous face, and you had a lot of fun. You did all of the things you wanted to do and that you thought looked like fun. You ate, you drank, you were merry, you made love and proliferated, and occasionally you looked up at the sky and remembered, yeah, that's who I was. That's where I started out, and I'm glad I'm here because this is so much fun. And then you died. You divorced your physical self and were back to your non-physical essence, back to being pure you. And you went, boy, that was fun. Let's go again. Splat. You rushed it this time, though, and in your haste, ended up not making it to term. And you went, well, that was quick. And you let that deter you not one bit. You jumped right back in and were born again, all bright and shiny and new. And you had more fun. So much fun. You went here and there and everywhere. You ate and drank and made merry, and then you died. Again, you decided, over and over and over again, because it was just so much freaking fun. You liked having a body, of being able to interact with other physical objects in a human way, on a human scale, instead of just zipping through space at the speed of light. After a couple hundred turns, or maybe a couple of billions, you thought, what if I switched things up a bit? So far, I've always known who I really am, that I am a speck of dust, not even dust, not even a particle or a ray of light. I was and am an invisible entity that wanted nothing more than to be human. I've always known that I am super fast, that I am pretty much everywhere all at once, and that from my perspective, everything is apparent all at once. That from the perspective of my purest self, I see and experience all. I am all. Everything is manifest. There is no good or evil. There is no competition. There is only infinite, non-stop creation and expansion. There is only me and all of the infinite expressions of me. What if I were to forget that? To forget the truth of who I am, the truth of my infinite divine nature? Would I still have as much fun? Would I have even more fun? And what would it take besides death for me to remember? I know, but in each fresh human incarnation, I am going to forget. I'm going to put the fear in physical little me, the yearning too. I choose to descend from heaven. I choose to descend because I can and because I want to. I want to know what it's like. That fear and yearning is so foreign to me. I'm curious about it. I want to experience and know it. And in all of your incarnations since then, you looked up at the sky, and instead of simply remembering who you were and how you chose to be here out of the deepest, purest desire, you yearn for freedom. Freedom that you believe you do not have because you don't have enough money, or because someone has denied you the things you want, or because you stubbed your toe on a slab of concrete thanks to a careless construction worker who didn't clear the pavement like he should have, or whatever. The story hasn't ended. The story is ongoing. Have you remembered who you really are? Have you remembered and then forgotten? Do you waver between knowing and forgetting? Here's an idea. The more you remember who you really are, the more you remember your power and freedom, the more avenues open up for abundance to flow to you, whether in the form of money or otherwise. When you remember who you really are, you occupy yourself not with getting the money, but with feeling the sheer joy of knowing you are alive and conscious as the human being that you are today, right here, right now, because that is exactly what you once desired. You occupy yourself with and immerse yourself in that feeling, and then the things you do are imbued with that energy, which makes you even more irresistibly attractive to the things you desire, such as money.